Northside Family Resource Centre was founded in 1987 and has been here operating the local communities of Limerick Northside for the last 30 years. We take a life cycle approach to our work, where we work with people from cradle to grave. So we offer childcare services, after-school services, youth work services, community and family support services and older people services. We are open to all and anyone who decides that they would like to avail of our services. One of our projects within Northside Family Resource Centre is the education project. We're very fortunate to have our own quality assurance where we can provide education locally within the community embedded that is responsive to learner needs. One of our populations that we serve is Knocklasheeny Direct Provision Centre that is located just behind us. So Knocklasheeny Direct Provision Centre, which is located just behind us in Meelick in County Clare. Those learners have started to engage with us doing community education from sewing and needlework, life skills type work, and they've all expressed an interest in going on to further education. Unfortunately, since the announcement by the Department of Justice that learners can only avail of accredited education if they fall within the criteria of being eligible to work, and that is being employment earning over 30,000. Asylum seekers can no longer access our programmes because we partner with the E2B. What we're proposing, what we would like to happen, is that we are enabled and resourced to run accredited programmes for those who are not eligible, and make those programmes as accessible as possible. So that would be not only being able to hire a tutor to work with these learners, but also to help them get over their other obstacles, such as providing childcare in-house, providing them with transport to get them to and from the location and on time so they can meet their other commitments as well, such as getting back in time for their children. That we can get them language supports for those whose English is not their first language, and that we can get them additional tutoring, mental health interventions when required to deal with trauma and grief, and also other social supports as well as they are required. We also would work with many learners' children, so that could be anything from playgroup right across to child therapy. So what we take is a holistic approach to our work with all people from the community. Unfortunately, given the current structures for the migrant community, these obstacles need to be resourced in order for them to be overcome. This project will be innovative because one of two things will happen. These people will be granted their status, and when status comes, they will have begun the path of becoming work ready and already being integrated into our society. If for whatever reason their status is not granted, at least they will be returning to their home country with a foundation in education, some work experience behind them, and also some investment into their own mental health and well-being. Either outcome, by providing people with education that wouldn't typically have access to it, we are looking at a positive result, whether that's a positive result for our own community here as they integrate in when their status comes, or when they return to their home country as well. At least we have given them something to build upon from there.
Hi, my name is Mary Hughes, and I'm a family support worker here, as well as an education coordinator for Northside Family Resource Centre. We work very closely with Knocklasheeny and Direct Provision Accommodation residents here in Northside. Over the last number of years, we have worked with them very closely, providing community education, some QQI accredited courses, level 3, and we also look after them when it comes to family support here in Northside. When it comes to community education and supporting the residents of Knocklasheeny, the residents can access courses that will provide soft skills and help them to and encourage them in their education and in their progression in education. For example, the women's group that come up from Knocklasheeny, they often would have courses in beauty, in needlework, in personal development and so on. Some of the men that come from Knocklasheeny will have joined our culinary skills class at level 3, and this opens up doors for them to be active members of the community, to to work on their personal development, to gain skills so they can be much more active participants in the community, and to set them up for further education and give them support and encouragement while they are in the asylum seeking process and in the difficult situation that they are in. Often the route of joining community education classes and coming from Knocklashin on a weekly basis will open the door to them to access family support. They wouldn't have been able to access that without having the initial contact with us through community education. While they're here with us accessing community education classes, we will do everything in our power to make that happen for them. So we would provide a bus to collect the learners from Knocklashin. As I said, it's just 5 minutes down the road, and we would provide childcare for them as well. We get a sense of great appreciation from them that we really put ourselves in a position to help them and support them. The Knocklashin direct provision accommodation is a place where there wouldn't be all of the supports that we have here, and these are very vulnerable people, and we will support them in any way possible.
Hi, my name is Martina Tute. I'm a community tutor, and I work here in the Northside Family Resource Centre with a group of Knocklashin women teaching them sewing. They come here to do some alterations for themselves and their kids, because a lot of the stuff that they would have are donated clothes or clothes they would have bought in second-hand stores, because they actually don't have any funding themselves to buy new stuff. And we'd like them to be able to make and create different things for themselves, and maybe prepare stuff for when they leave Knocklashin and go out into their own homes. And again, they don't have any money to be buying materials and equipment for themselves. The other side of these classes are that they're a social outlet for these women, and it gets them out of the centre and helps them to socialise among themselves and among Irish people and the local community around here, which is very important to them for when they do leave Knocklashin, that they have relationships built up with the community and the people that are going to be living locally around them, and that they have contacts made with people around the area as well, if they need help or anything. So for those reasons. The other reasons are for their mental health issues. They need to be able to come out and socialise, because they don't actually have anything outside of the centres unless the centre puts stuff on for them. And some of the people here, I know that they have gone to the management here about their own children even having some mental health issues around about their living situation. So for those reasons, we do need to have a little bit more funding in for them. They also, these women are very educationally driven, and they really want to, to move on and to be able to participate in qualified courses, so that it will be a means to employment when they're ready to go, when they have their status secured here. So for that reason, we would really appreciate any funding that would be given to us.